Hello and welcome to Lexx Education. It's the comedy science podcast where Ron wrestles with a cat, fussing in the morning. But Laura is giddy at the end of her day. She's already done a show and already met one of the lab rats from the southern hemisphere. Shout out, squirrels. I don't know your real name, but you go by squirrels in the Discord. So that's what I call you, 'cause I don't know your real name, but it was nice to meet you today. Hey, Ron. You've muted yourself, Ron.
I haven't.
Oh, you were silent.
No?
Maybe I muted you.
I think you muted.
I've got the power to mute Ron. Look at that. Ron, say something. No, see, I can mute it partway through.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know I had that. How long have we been doing this show? And we never call it a show. It's not a show, is it? Some podcasts are shows. This isn't a show.
What is this?
A hangout?
The Lexx Education show.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's when we're on CBeebies.
Oh, God. We'd be dreadful on CBeebies, Ron. Neither of
Laura
us are
and
particularly
Ron in the bungalow.
physically engaging, which is what you really have to be on CBeebies. You have to have big, expressive faces and no insecurities.
We've got one of those things.
We don't have big, expressive faces.
No, we've just got big faces.
Yeah, you very rarely change your facial expression.
That's not true.
It's quite true, Ron. I wouldn't say you had like an
often
animated
wincing.
caricature face.
I'm usually wincing.
Yeah,
and going,
yeah. Your face comes forward, and then it goes back to plain.
You're already a children's TV character.
How am I a children's TV character?
You're the Scarecrow from Bob the Builder.
Lodi the Scarecrow.
I don't know what's Bob up to today.
It's a weird day for us today. Ron is in Kokio time, and I am. Well, you're not a Kokio though. You're a solo Kyo. Solo Kyo.
Yeah, I'm a Kyo.
Just a Kyo, and I'm
Just
a
a Kyo.
beach bummergan. I've had most of my. Well, I've still got 2 shows to go today, so it's not like I'm done.
Yeah,
for
you're
the day.
about halfway through your day. Actually.
Yeah. I went to the gym today, Ron, and did a fasted workout at 8:30.
What does that mean? That just means you haven't had breakfast.
Yeah. Circuits before breakfast. Not even a cup of tea. I just got out of bed and went to the gym. Bow!
That's cool.
Yeah. It's amazing not having dependents.
Yeah.
You can just do whatever you want to do.
Are you lifting or are you doing like your HIIT workouts?
Like some lifting in the HIIT, but 3 or 4 kgs lighter than I would do if I was doing it for strength.
Fair.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so hot in this room now. I've turned the air conditioning off. Fuck me. We might die.
It's like old times.
It is.
Except it was me that was dying.
Oh God. Yeah, when you were in your... Oh my God, that apartment was so hot. The apartment of death. That is kind of what it's like here. What's great though is my apartment is opposite a Bunnings. Bunnings is like the big DIY superstore here. And they have a big flat roof, which does make the view from my apartment quite ugly. But on that big flat roof is the blowers that are like the blowout air, I guess, from their air conditioning. And it blows directly into my apartment. So I always have air moving in my apartment. Yes, it's secondhand Bunnings air, but it does mean there's always moving air.
I mean, you've been able to find a silver lining that no one else would have. So.
I quite like it because I don't like having air conditioning on. You know what I'm like, Ron? I'm quite sensorily problematic. Like there was a point this morning where before I went to the gym, I put my dishwasher and my washing machine on, and I was like, "Cool, I'll do some washing. I'll do the washing up." Bam. And I got back and they were both still going, and I was like, "Oh no, I can't. I simply can't be in this room." there's two things, and it was too hot, so I needed the aircon on, and then I was like, there's three things just ramming in slightly different pitches, and I was like, I'm gonna cry.
But you live in a nightmare hellscape of noise that's self-inflicted, and when you just marinate in it.
Yeah, but that's
All of
things.
those-
That's things with personality. It's not just constant burring.
It is constant, and it's constant. It's so much worse.
I like those noises. It's vroom, vroom. That's what I hate. Little snuffle pig. I like that.
It's horrid. Anyway.
How was your day yesterday, Ron?
Yesterday was good. I love my new job.
Yeah.
When I have a job that I like, I can just sit down and do it for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And Judith has to be a bit like, it's time to stop now. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But I'm over here with my mistress, the spreadsheet.
Oh, right. Sorry. I thought you said, I didn't realize you were being me.
I was being you. It was a bit. It was a bit. It's because my face was too expressive. Hang on, I'll do it again while wincing. Oh, but I'm over here with my mistress, the spreadsheet.
Well, you've done it in a funny voice as well, so I know you're doing a character.
That's my Ron voice.
Yeah.
Real Housewives of Miami, Ron, has a new housewife. And she's called Julia. And she's a Russian lady, an ex-supermodel. And she's married to Martina Navratilova. And she reminds me so much of Judith that she's like not dissimilar looking, you know, in the fact that they're like 40 years apart in age and stuff. But she wears her hair quite similar to Judith. And
they do have a similar look.
Do you know what I mean? They've got a similar vibe, but also she like
It's the pointy nose.
Everybody like has their dogs and stuff, and like they had a dog birthday party the other day, and Julia just bought her goat called Elvis that wears a nappy around the house, and her kids have left her home and she can't cope with empty nests, so she's now got 400 animals on the farm. And there's a tiny bit of me that could see Judith going this way, you know, just like adding cats to your life. And Martina Navratilova's always like, everybody has left home now, why can't we just enjoy each other? And Julia's like, no, I need stuff everywhere, I need all the stuff. And I love her, and she's quite entwined with Judith.
I need stuff. Where is all the stuff?
I want to suck your stuff. Oh, she's so Judith coded. I love her. I'm taking her side in all the stupid arguments they're having because in my head she's Judith.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I googled her the third. After her Wikipedia page, then her Instagram page, the next thing down is a Reddit post that says Julia might be the darkest housewife we've ever had, and it's ...
Oh, darkest? She's not dark. She's cool. She's a goat called Elvis. How can you get mad at that?
No, that's good stuff. That's very good stuff.
Yeah, she's rad. Anyway, Ron, speaking of women, we're talking about Elizabeth I today. Who doesn't love segways? Everybody loves segways. Do you remember what we were talking about last time, Ron?
We started off. It looks like we did another timeline of the period. We talked about the break from I think. We were talking about the religious side of it.
Well, we were talking about Elizabeth's problems. So we did cover like religious
Elizabeth's problems, yeah.
Nuttiness.
Because I made 3.5 pages of notes.
Yeah.
Last time, but it turns out the sulk notes weren't good.
Oh, are they spike
The
notes?
last page, yeah, the spike notes are really bad. The last page and a half, it says no begging, please. Almshouses, and there's a picture of a graph going down.
Yeah, so we just
then
covered
it
off.
Then it says Liz is a woman.
Yep.
King supposed to be on battle. Women were thick. periods, emotional. Cecil Smallhorse, admin.
Yeah.
Walsingham, rude boy, mucks about.
Wow, yeah, those are bad notes.
Patronage, arrow to bribes. Speeches, flirty, rivalry, machinations. And then there's a picture of what I assume is a queen in an elaborate hat with a line drawn to what I presume is a princess with a small hat.
Wow, okay. That could be Mary the First that you've put there, and it could be the princess in the small hat. I think we discussed her at the end. Yeah, we covered off her problems, Ron. We covered off that, like, religion was a problem, being a woman was a problem, the economy, poor laws, all that kind of stuff. And then, yes, Small Horse and Man of the Streets, Walsingham. They were her
The rude
helpers.
boy who mucks about.
Yeah.
Great.
Today, we're talking about women, Ron.
Oh, no.
I know. We're gonna discuss what it was like to be of the vaginaed class in Elizabethan society. And the notes, there's not much in the notes, so I've tried to do a little bit of extra research here so we can add some colour and some witty bants, okay? And then this tees us up really nicely for the next episode, which is where we're going to be able to do a sort of Love Island of the possible suitors for Elizabeth I. But we need to cover off some of the stuff about being a woman. Oh my God, Ron. They're filming a series of The Block while I'm in Melbourne. And my Australian people are already on it to get me to be able to go to the building site.
Wow, you're going to talk to the man in the gilet.
I want to meet Keith so bad. Okay, but back to being a woman in Elizabethan society. So the notes in the syllabus start really funny on this because they go, in Elizabethan society, women were seen as less important. This was due to restrictive social and cultural norms. And it's like, yeah, nothing's changed. That is, you could write that about now.
Yeah, get back to me when a period in time was a feminist powerhouse.
Yeah, exactly. So Amazonia, right? So yeah, I mean, and that's lovable, but legally also, women were different to men, which I think now in the UK, are men and women like legally equal?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so, right? We should know that.
Should we find out?
I don't know if I want to. That could ruin my day if I find out that, like, if Tom dies, you own me.
They are legally equal. Oh, God.
Oh, no. What's the disclaimer, Ron?
No, it's not a disclaimer. It's when that act came in. Do you want to hazard a
Oh, well, I think it's going to be quite, maybe 70s? 70s?
2010.
What happened? What was the last law to change?
This is the Equality Act of 2010. It's from a website called equalityhumanrights.com.
2010. God.
Sex is a protected characteristic under the Equality Act of 2010. I think put this on the Patreon list.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think we can do this research right now.
Gender equality.
Legal gender equality.
Yeah. Okay. It's going on the Detentron after Snackenborg, which I still haven't ticked off.
Take it off. We're not doing it again.
Where was Snackenborg from, Ron?
Sweden.
Right. Well done. Okay. So, legally...
I told you that. That's the really galling thing about Snackenborg is I brought Snackenborg to the table.
Legally... Well, listen up, Ron. Legally, Snackenborg had
I'm
no
the podcast's
rights.
leading scholar on Snackenborg.
Snackenborg had limited legal rights. She was unable to own her own property.
Even as one of the richos.
Yeah, even as one of the richos. So this is part of what causes problems for old Lizzie I, right? So you couldn't own anything or legally have rights, like your father owned them, and then when you got married, anything you had reverted to your husband, even the Queen. So this is partly why Lizzie I holds out on getting married, because even though she's the Queen of England, if she gets married, her husband is the king and she's like a secondary queen to his kingness, you know? He gets it all. So, yeah, when she gets married, everything merges and becomes her husband's. Inheritance laws favoured men. And basically...
Wait, but her father was dead and she was unmarried. So who owned all of her stuff?
Well, exactly. This is why Lizzie One was so, like, crazy independent. Was her dad's dead. She doesn't have any uncles. Her brother's dead. So she is completely independent. She was, like, a unicorn.
Everyone's North Star of independence.
Yeah, is to have no... like, as an Elizabethan woman, what you want...
Only one horn.
Is
unipendent.
is to have no living male relatives that can claim you.
Yeah, I get why she's independent. It was the unicorn bit that threw me off.
Oh, because a unicorn is like a thing everybody wants to be. A unicorn, you know. That's urban slang, Ron. That's what cool kids...
That's not urban slang.
That's
for
what cool kids say. They do.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you what unicorn actually means.
Well, I know it in more specific. Maybe she also was
Do
a
you
unicorn.
think Liz was?
It's famously...
That's why she never needed a partner for herself, because she was off being a filthy little switch with a bunch of couples in the court.
Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, whatever.
Snackenborg.
Snackenborg was there with William Parr, who was kind of Lizzie's step-uncle, I guess.
Oh, wait, didn't William Parr assault her? No, that was
Thomas Seymour.
Thomas Seymour.
That was Catherine Parr's husband.
Yeah, I knew it was associated to one of Henry VIII's wives.
Yeah,
So that's
but
why I thought
William
it might
was
have been Parr.
Snackenborg's husband, Catherine's brother, I think.
Yeah.
I think. Anyway, what were we
She
talking about?
is a startup that's going to reach £1 billion revenue. That's the other meaning of a unicorn.
What, by
Like Uber.
slutting it up with other people? It's a startup.
I think by slutting away the rights of the workers.
Well, that's how I think of unicorns. It's way too hot for
I
tea.
had tea.
Oh, I wish you had my tea. It's so hot. So a lot of this comes from like religions being all boo hiss, women are shit. Why are you laughing?
Religion's being all boo hiss was just funny. Yeah.
So even with the reform, with the reform, there's a little bit more ability for people to be reading the English Bible and stuff like that. Women are still quite excluded from that. They would very, very, very rarely have been educated. I think upper class women would have been allowed to have preachers coming round and sermons in their rooms and stuff. And they often did like exchange trips with other posh houses where you'd go and live in a different house for a year or so and sort of have some education that way.
And learn how they clean the fucking dishes.
Yes,
What's the point of that?
anti-clockwise around the plate, is it?
Oh, look who's rinsing the cups before they're going in the vat.
How do you beat your valet, sir? I think often, like, girls, if you had a progressive-ish dad, you might have been allowed to be in when your brother was getting tutored, so you could kind of, like, sneak a bit of an education, but then when your brother was done and went to Oxford, I think your time was up. But
obviously, it's relative first world problems for the time. But what a nightmare existence. Like, you're not really allowed to work because your family has everything they ever want. You're not allowed to know anything. And you're not allowed to have anything. That must have been so fucking boring.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. And then they're all
Would they have known how, like, would the average upper class lady have known how to read? No.
Yes, and in several
Okay.
languages, I would have thought. Like Latin.
Oh, so they can at least read a fucking book. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
cool.
And interestingly, I think I found out this week, I think Catherine Parr might have been the first English woman to publish a book under her own name.
Oh.
And obviously Elizabeth has grown up under this. So I just finished a fiction novel about Catherine Parr, but I think it was the actual historical bones of the novel are usually pretty well researched by this author. And she was very scholarly, particularly on the reform. the church and stuff. And Elizabeth obviously grew up with Catherine Parr as sort of her stepmother for, I don't know, however long she was married, 5 or 6 years. So Elizabeth would have spoken probably French, Latin, English, maybe not Spanish, possibly even Greek, like all of that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But the average woman wouldn't have at all. And then here's the thing that was horrible, right? So that's upper class women, etc., etc. But like, yeah, even the kings and queens of England, they're still subject to these queens. Like when they get married, their husband takes everything, etc. They don't particularly exist. Then
That is mad.
Economically, well, I get the impression that like Henry VIII, Elizabeth must have been in a weird position. Mary and Elizabeth must have been in a weird position where Henry VIII had really nosed up any sanctity of being a queen. Because prior to that, even though you were a woman and everything, you were the queen. You were untouchable queenliness. Like they had all these big rules about like...
Whereas Henry had been banging a bunch of filthy whores and kind of undermined it all.
Yeah, well, he got rid of Catherine of Aragon, you know, like he put her aside. That had never been done before. And prior
kind
to
of
this,
like how like we can't hang on to Keir Starmer now because we've had like 1 billion prime ministers in the last 10 years. So everyone's like, get rid of him.
Yeah, we're in the mood for getting rid because we don't just go like, yeah,
we're not used to it. Yeah.
And like a lot of that like sureness about the way things are, like I believe like they executed, I'll have to look that because I don't know if that's true. But yeah, I think a lot of that surety of like, well, we don't do things like this to the upper classes. I think it's been changed a bit because Henry just killed a lot of people that got in his way. He never fell out with somebody and just banished them because they were noble. He cut their heads off. Margaret Pole was, so she was...
A bit like how everyone gets ousted from the Labour Party because we're used to doing that.
Yeah, you can't just be disagreed with now. You've got to leave. You've got to go and form a breakaway party. Yeah, I think
Ron's
Margaret...
disclaimer, I'm not a Keir Starmer fan. Vote Green. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Margaret Pole was the niece of Richard III, I think. And so she was literally a princess when she was born, but she was part of this Plantagenet family that the Tudors like always were scared that they were going to come back to the throne. You know, they were the old royal family, and the Tudors were these parvenus that were taking over. And Margaret Pole,
parvenus.
Parvenu. I think it's like a sort of like
What's that mean?
Oh no, I've never used it out loud before. I think it's like a new money, you know, like a new person coming into the old world. Let me find.
Okay.
A person who is a relative newcomer to a high-ranking socioeconomic class. Yeah.
Good word, Laura.
Thanks. I wish I'd been able to just explain it quickly without using it and then hoping. But anyway, yeah. So she was like a literal princess who'd maybe not happily, but like accepted the come down in life to just be like an old woman in the Tudor world, and they never ever found evidence against her that she was plotting to restore the York family to the throne or anything. And Henry had her executed at the age of like 67, just for sort of existing and being somebody that people could rally around to rebel. And that was just like, what the fuck are you doing? She's like the aristocracy. You can't just bump off a 67-year-old lady. And if you think like 67 in Tudor years is like 109.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Everything's tipsy-turvy.
A little bit, yeah. Okay, so then if you go and look at like normal women, you know, you're not educated. If you do work, you are looking at unskilled jobs, pretty low paying.
Washer ladies, like maybe servant girls, matchstick girls.
Yes, and then your jaw would collapse.
Why would your jaw collapse?
Oh, because the matchstick girls, right? So whatever they dipped the stuff in was it was mercury or whatever it was. It made your the bones of your jaw collapse. Have you ever Googled matchstick girls?
No.
Oh, let me show you something horrible.
I haven't really written anything down.
Well, it's all been pretty obvious so far, hasn't it? Phossy jaw.
Yeah.
That was, it was phosphorus. That was it. So they had to dip the stuff in phosphorus, and then it would like eat away at your jawbone, and they all had these like crumbled mouths.
Oh, fucking shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right? Isn't it horrible?
Oh my God. This is like something out of Bloodborne.
Yeah. So you didn't want to be a matchstick girl. But basically, you kind of
That was more of a Victorian thing, so...
You kind of had to be married because otherwise you were very vulnerable as a woman because you didn't necessarily own your property. Like, it was quite hard to prove that you owned your property, or, you know, you were prime witch candidate if you didn't have a husband, and you couldn't earn very much. So you were probably a homemaker. And your education would be restricted to domestic skills, not so academic. You couldn't obviously vote, couldn't go to debates. It was as limited as you'd imagine it being. And then it says here, culturally, literature and the arts often depicted women as weak and irrational, which I'm like, if you think to yourself, like you were just saying, like, you're bored to tears. And now we know that women are just as engaged and like excitable and intelligent as men, and you are that little. Of course you seem like a fucking nut job, and of course you're like, she's squealing over a bonnet. It's the only exciting thing happening in your life.
Also, everything within your grasp could be legally taken away from you at a moment's fucking notice, at the whim of someone else. So, like, yeah, of course, like, you're gonna, like, it's all really high stakes, because if you fall off the bottom of the ladder, you're fucked.
Absolutely. Also, here's a horrible fact that I found. Like, because basically you're just there to be a mum and a lady of the house, the average woman had a baby every 2 years. Your
Fair
body's
play.
just fucked. Your body's fucked. And then I did some more. So I think that was all, that was all that the thing had to say about women. But I was like, let's go and find some more. So I was looking at, okay, why were women seen as weak and irrational? What's going
Question,
on?
though.
Mm-hmm.
Was that because they were trying to have kids, or was that because there was no contraception and people be shagging?
Well, I think there's no contraception and people be shagging, but also men being able to create children is a big part of everybody feeling good about themselves. You don't want to be barren as a woman, because then you're a witch and you're not helpful to the husband. He wants heirs, and if you're a normal, like, working family, you need kids to grow up and work for you. And also, like, the child mortality rate's obviously pretty high, so a lot of these babies aren't making it. So even if you're pregnant every 2 years or having a baby every 2 years, maybe only a third of them are surviving.
Grim.
Yeah. So not only are you pregnant every 2 years, there's
Like
not a
third
lot
of
of
your
vitamin C in the Elizabethan diet. So you've often got bad teeth and bleeding gums. There was a big fashion for yellow hair, sort of very queenly, like the Queen had sort of orangey hair. So you dyed your hair with saffron, cumin seed, celandine and oil.
At least you smelt nice.
Yeah. Your face, you had to look really pale.
How are they affording saffron, man?
Well, I don't think the average person's doing this.
We're back on the
Yeah,
aristocracy.
I guess so. I don't think the average person's dyeing their hair at this point. Yeah.
They might have been doing that thing like lemon bleaching.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're...
Although if they had lemons, then they'd have the vitamin C.
I'm pretty sure most people had their hair covered at this point. Like, at court, you certainly wore hoods and stuff. Yeah, you had to be very pale. And at court, posh women, they would often let blood to look paler. So it's like, of course, they're fainting all the time. Everybody's bleeding off a pint of blood before dinner to try and look sexy.
This is where you really have to just think about like the culture and how these things end up and the immense pressure these women are under, because otherwise they're just like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe you are fucking thick. Don't do that.
Yeah. But then you think about now and you're like, well, I put makeup on, and then you see reels that's like, oh, here's the mine where children mine the stuff that makes your makeup sparkle, and they are dying in their droves because of X, Y, and Z. And you're like, people will look back on this time and go back, how could people have iPhones knowing and you just go, God, because life just
that's
keeps
different.
on trucking.
That's different. It's
Do you
bad.
think so?
And different.
When we find out what happens long term with GLP-1s to people that don't need them, like...
No, yeah, but then that's also different to global inequality problems. I'm going to bleed so I look hot today is a different kind of stupid.
But it's not. If you're like, I'm going to bleed so that I look hot today, so that my husband still remembers why he's with me, so that he doesn't come up with heresy charges against me and have me put in the tower because actually there's
That's
a 14-year-old
what I said, Laura. You've got to focus
court.
on the culture part of it. I already talked about that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
I agree, Ron. Yeah, we're on the same page.
Daft.
Most people know this one, but the white for like face paint makeup, that was lead based. So
yeah, I've heard that one before.
That was poisonous, and it could kill you if you used enough of it. There were laws on what you could wear. I think these were called the sumptuary laws, and that ranged from anything from like no one except the royal family are allowed to wear purple, to like certain cloths are not allowed for lower classes.
In Roman times, like I think the whole purple thing comes back from Roman emperors. Mm-hmm. Do you know how the dye was made?
Wasn't it the Phoenicians brought purple over to Rome? It was crustacean shells or something, isn't it? Or a fish?
Very close. It was sea snail shells.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She sells sea snail shells from the Phoenicians.
I love it. Okay. Do you know what blusher was made from? It wasn't sea snails. I'm going to give you a clue.
What's the most dangerous thing these ladies could be rubbing on their face? Gunpowder.
Oh, Ron, yeah. Sulfur, turpentine, and mercury.
Oh, God. So mercury made you mad. Another reason why these ladies might have been flying off the handle.
Absolutely. Mad as literal hatters. So what you did is they made concoctions to sort of bleach freckles and blemishes, and this was from sulfur, turpentine, and mercury. And then that would obviously leave your skin grey and shriveled, it says here in quotes. So to get round that, once you've done that and now your skin's grey...
You're pumping blood back in to unshrivel.
No, Ron. They basted themselves. They would glaze the skin.
Basted?
She's been
marinated.
They would glaze themselves with raw egg white to produce a smooth marble-like surface. So you'd paint an egg on.
So they go nice and golden brown in the oven. Why are they giving themselves an egg wash?
I don't know. So you put your sulfur and your mercury on, and then you just cover it up with a little bit of egg wash primer.
God, that must have reeked in the summer.
Yeah. Disgusting. The book that I've just finished...
Dying of salmonella as well.
About Catherine Parr. And it's like, the end of Henry VIII's life. And people talk about he was lame and stuff. Well, basically he had burst varicose ulcers on his leg. So his leg was just constantly open and rotting. And this book makes a huge deal out of her having to fuck him and stuff with this leg literally rotten in the room.
I can't be hearing that.
No, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. So, here was an interesting thing that I found about fashion, though, in terms of this. So, Elizabeth was obviously quite fashionable and incredibly rich. And early years of her reign, you're still carrying on from the fashions and stuff of Henry's court, but you do find that fashion moves with whatever the favourites of the court are doing. So Anne Boleyn moved the court to be very French based because she'd grown up in France, and that was from heavy Spanish things. And then Jane Seymour kind of brought back in Spanishy stuff. Then you've got more Protestant things. So
God is good.
Elizabeth's fashion becomes quite opulent and elaborate over time, and she really liked an exaggerated silhouette. And then what they've noticed is that even her male courtiers started to wear corsets to give themselves a cinched waistline.
All right, mate.
Don't you think that's really, really interesting that like having a woman on the throne has changed men's fashion to sort of slightly ape women's fashion?
Yeah, I guess.
Like she's been such a successful symbol of power that men are willing to try to recreate that feminine shape.
I don't find that super surprising, to be honest. And I think linking it back to today and like more like modern touch points and stuff, you know, and what today's been great for is like making me realize quite how fucking lucky you women are to be living now. You guys have it great. But like obviously feminist discourse is big at the moment, as it has been for a while, and then we have like the sort of the subculture of the performative male at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not super surprised that when the queen is when there's a queen and you're in a time period where you basically literally believe they're the spawn of God, that you're going to get essentially a court culture of performative males.
I guess for me, it's like, is it performative males or is it nature is finally healing? And if you could live in a world where you had more female leaders more consistently, would you just come to realize that power doesn't look like one thing and that you are completely comfortable to ape any look if that's where the power currently is?
I don't think any version of nature is healing would have more people wearing corsets.
No, corsets do sound terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I don't know. I don't think the men wearing corsets are having some kind of brain renaissance. I think they're doing that to gain power.
They are, but isn't that a slight brain renaissance? That they are doing it to gain power, but they've managed to override that women are irrelevant thing because women are now power.
This woman's power.
Exactly. Our woman.
I don't think they were taking that home to their wives.
No.
I don't think they were taking that out on the streets.
But had this been made more normal, if she wasn't an anomaly, it shows that women can be powerful. That there's nothing... all these godly laws of like women were made to be X and Y and men cannot and da is just socially constructed.
Yeah, of course. I think you're giving the lads in the court way too much credit. I don't think they were thinking that.
Maybe they weren't thinking it consciously, but I think
it's a lesson we can take away from it. I think that's great.
Sure.
But
well, okay. So maybe I'm being too generous there, but so there we go. That's kind of looking at what's going on for the powerful and what's going on for the normal. But I just wanted to highlight this, which I found on one of the websites I was looking at, which is about how even being a powerful lady didn't save you from anything. So we're just going to quickly have a look at Lady Jane Grey. So Jane Grey is the granddaughter of Henry VIII's sister Mary. So Mary marries Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk, has, I can't remember what the daughter's called, and the Grey sisters has 3 sisters, and they are her daughters. So she's related to the
Grey
king.
sisters, because they've not been applying enough egg wash.
Good one, Ron. Yes. The yolk's coming out of you. So this is how little say she has in the whole thing, right? So she's already part of a powerful family. They want her to marry into the Dudley family, Guildford Dudley. Her family want her to marry to. She apparently does raise objections and is like, I'm betrothed already. Like, she's probably been betrothed since she was like 6 months old to Lord Hertford, apparently. And she kind of says, like, I won't marry into the Dudley family. Her family then whip her, like put her on the whipping stool and beat her because she's not being submissive. And that was perfectly normal and fine. You were allowed to beat your wife, etc., etc. And then she is basically forced to take the throne against her wishes, obviously. She's eventually beheaded for that. And by the time she's been through all of this, she's only 17 at the time of her beheading. So however you want to paint all of these, like Anne Boleyn, Lady Jane's, as like grasping, aspiring women, like you think they had very little say in anything that happened to them or like, you know, was available to them. They didn't have much more freedom than the average woman if their families set out to use them as pawns.
Oh, yeah. No, just as powerless, but in nicer clothes.
Yeah. So we come back to Elizabeth.
Oh, it just makes you think about the painting, doesn't it?
Oh, I love that painting. Yeah.
Gorgeous painting.
Yeah. And just, anyway, yeah. So we come back to Elizabeth, who obviously famously never marries.
Oh.
Yeah, so let's have a quick look at why Elizabeth needed to marry before we end this episode. So, one, it's the whole point of having royals, isn't it? That you marry other royals from other countries and you secure alliances. So
yeah,
you do
but
that.
She'd have to. So, if she married, let's say, Prince Ferdinand of Spain,
Yeah.
England becomes Spain's because she's a woman and he's a dude.
Yeah, and he's in charge, which is exactly what Mary had done.
So this was a European system of women can't own stuff.
Yes, although, yeah, I think so. I think it's quite Christian, isn't it? I think some people did rule jointly. Like, I know Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain are always seen as joint rulers. That's Catherine of Aragon's parents. But I think if it boils down to it, the man's in charge.
Isabella of Spain is the ruler in Civ 5 for Spain.
Ah, there you go.
Double bonuses when you settle on natural wonders.
Oh, like the Alhambra Palace.
That's not a natural wonder. In
Matey
Civ
that
parlance,
invented
that's
toothpaste.
a world wonder.
Our little time traveling guy. I think Mary, because Mary did marry the King of Spain. Mary married a Spanish royal guy, and it just meant that every time she wanted to make a big decision, she basically has to write endless letters going, "Husband, I beseech thee, help me out with the raggedy Scots, yabba yabba yabba," and you're a little bit beholden to his permission to do anything.
But it sounds exhausting. Just like, get on with it, wife. You don't have to ask me every time. I'm eating castanets and playing paella down here.
Yeah, but then what if he comes back and he's cross with you? What are you going to do then?
Well, then I'll make up my mind then, but I don't want to hear everything that's fucking going on.
Well, this is why you're not a good King of Spain. We've always said it. Stop trying to be the King of Spain.
That's why they took it away from me at such a young age.
Sit down and play with your spreadsheets. So you can either marry foreign, and that's really cool because then you've got an alliance somewhere, or you can marry English, and then, you know, you've got one of the big families that you're allied to, but who are you going to marry? If you marry the Howards, the Seymours are angry. If you marry the Seymours, the Howards are cross. So what are you going to do?
Marry yourself. Checkmate.
Well, she married England, didn't she?
Did
She
she?
was the wife of the country and God and all that.
Did they?
And then she's stuck in this,
Did she ever married? No. She didn't have a ceremony for that.
She's stuck in this difficultness, right? Where she's the last Tudor, basically. Her brother and sister are dead. She's the last one. So, but if she marries a guy, then...
And that's not long. That didn't go on for very long. Wonder, Tudor, didn't even make it to Threeder.
Oh, no, she is. No, she's the Fivedor, because there's Henry VII, Henry VIII.
Just making a joke about the word Tudor.
Edward, Mary, Lizzie. She's Tudor 5. If she gets married, it's kind of the end of the Tudor dynasty because now her husband's in charge. But if she doesn't get married, she can't make an heir. Big problem.
This is how, like, ancient, like, pharaohs and stuff end up marrying their fucking brothers and sisters, don't they?
Yeah, because it's tricky. And obviously everybody's always grasping for the throne and little plots are always kicking off. So who she marries is really difficult to decide because you're like, I don't want to strengthen anybody's coup by marrying
So
the...
she's queen.
Yeah.
She's in charge.
Yeah.
What stops her? And maybe this didn't even occur to her because it's so fucking ingrained in everybody's like brains. But what stops her from being like changing the rules a little bit so that if she gets married, it doesn't like move into his line or everything?
I think it would have to go through the Privy Council, and that is made up of old men who want to carry on seeing everything kept with men.
But she could have just killed all of them.
Maybe, but then I reckon that they'd all have a coup against her.
Yeah, maybe. That's fair. That was a genuine question, not a criticism on Liz. I don't know what it's like to be queen 500 years ago.
I guess it would
It's just a funny juxtaposition of mighty all powerful God, but also I hope these men don't take everything away from me.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, when Joe Biden was in, why didn't he simply ban guns? I think it's that.
Yeah.
It's like
maybe.
Even when you're Mr. Almighty, you still have to tread a bit carefully. Like, even someone like Trump who's tearing up the rule book, there are limits to how much you can push.
Yeah, he didn't actually invade Greenland.
Yet. So there you go. That's kind of why there's this constant need. She wants an heir without having to give away power, and people are always being suggested. And the thing with her was she absolutely understood the significance of her being single, because all the time she was single and someone could marry her, there was a reason for Spain and France and the Netherlands to court her. But as soon as she picks one, everyone else is going to go, well, fuck you, you're no use to me. So she sees this use in her eligibility, and that is hard to give up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think we've discussed that briefly before. Because not only is everyone then courting you, it's as soon as, you marry fucking Jerbel van der Velde from the Netherlands, then Spain's going to be like, oh, you're Gormeva, and angry.
Yeah. And you've picked, whatever country you choose, you've picked a religious alliance as well. Because if you pick Germany, you've gone, up the Lutherans. And if you pick Spain, you've gone, bam, bam, Catholics, let's ride. So by choosing none of them, she also keeps all of the religious factions happy and interested in courting her.
Interesting history. What if she chose Spain, and then you've got like the Spanish Empire and the British Empire, the potential of that combined.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I didn't realise this until finishing up this book in the last couple of days. But you always get taught that Catherine Parr survived and was like this placid wife that blah, blah, blah. Like she coasted him out to the end. Not quite. Like Henry was so close to going back to the Catholic Church that there is an arrest warrant for Catherine Parr that he signed, having her arrested on the charges of heresy, because she was really into the Reformed Church and like Protestant preachers and stuff, and he was going to have her arrested on that score. And we're not obviously don't quite know what she did to wriggle out of that, how she got out of it, but it's in the record. There is an arrest warrant that he signed. He was on the cusp of getting rid of her just before he died. And when he did die, he paid to have masses sung for him and all of the things that he'd made illegal for everybody else, because purgatory apparently wasn't real. He instated it back for himself. Like if Jane Seymour hadn't died, or Catherine Howard's family, no, they were Reformed, but there's every chance that we could have switched back to Catholicism very, very easily.
That's fine. I didn't know that. That's funny to me.
No, I didn't know any of this either. Like, we were talking about the political instability and how, like, Edward's rule was the first rule where there was a person on the throne. Like, Henry's rule was so tumultuous in terms of what was illegal and what wasn't illegal, was changing so quickly that 1 week Henry changed the laws that, this person's writings are to be given out to everybody. And then the next week it was literally illegal to have those books in your house, and you had no idea what was going to stay legal. Yeah, fascinating. So there you go. So next time we're going to have a look at some of Elizabeth's potential suitors.
Yes. So I haven't had breakfast. I've really lost focus in the last 10 minutes.
That's fine.
Maybe 5.
I've had a great time.
I think I did well, though.
We've done well.
We love history.
Yes.
Maybe
okay.
we should do more history every 3rd episode.
Da da dum 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 ding 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 dum di 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 dum dum da da di 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 dum 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 rum.
Keep going.
Di di dum dum.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, he's found it. Fum 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 fum.
A large feminist thank you from the Lexx Education team to Rosie. Rosie is the neuro in Laura's brain that supplies the wrong word when she's trying to think of the right word. A simple word like slack, right? Should be easy. Laura's a smart girl. She could just reach into her brain.
You didn't have to pause after that bit, Ron.
You didn't punctuate correctly. Laura's a smart girl, should be comma. She could just reach into her brain, pull out the word, and move on with her life. But no, there sits Rosie to hand her the wrong word and shield the right word just out of sight. It's pesky work, but someone has to do it, and that someone is Rosie. Thanks, Rosie. Thanks, a sprout.
Yay! Thanks, Rosie. Thanks for being a patron, and thanks to all our patrons. We love you very much. The Discord's been very fun lately. It's been popping off. Lots of bat facts. And if you would like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/Lexx Education and join. And then you can chat with us and get all of the extra episodes.
It is £3 a month.
It's a banger. And our most recent episode was top 10 worst royals in honour of Prince Andrew, formerly known as Andrew, being arrested on his birthday.
Yeah. We also love all of the other listeners as well. If you're like, you want to show support for the podcast, but you can't, you're just not interested in the Patreon, leave us a 5-star review. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Helps people find us, helps us keep doing what we do. This is a lot of time and effort.
It is. And also come and see my London shows of Slinky. Buy tickets to Yo-Yo, starts in September. And don't forget to listen to the Comedy Bureau. We love you very much. We'll see you next week when, unfortunately, it's back to biology. But don't worry, it's only 1 week and then it's Easter 2026. Special time.
No, you say it.
Women dismissed.